hear that? I know it's not crackling on the camera, but that's the sound of the wind in the trees. This is not the kind of video I usually make. This isn't going to be an edited information video or anything like that. Most of you guys know me from the 11 Bang Bang channel. My name is Garrett, by the way. This is my own personal channel. And I thought I'd just kind of bring you along with me to my place I can kind of go to just decompress. What I have here, and I wish everybody had it, and I know I'm very lucky that I have it. I don't actually have it, it's my brother-in-law's. But this is what we call the horse pasture. And 20-30 years ago, we kept horses in here. It's a little 50-acre section of the bigger ranch. And it just, over the years, it kind of turned swampy. And it got to where the horses obviously couldn't live in here because you get hoof rot and everything else. But we took them out, and of course the fences stayed up, so never really used it, and it got overgrown. There's a good chunk of acreage here, and right now it is so overgrown that there's only one way in and one way out, and I kind of like it that way. There's a swamp area right in front of me, right behind you, and the cattle can come in here if they want, but there's only one way in and one way out, and most of the time animals just come in here to die. And the other good thing about it is it's so dense getting in here. You basically have to come in here kind of hunched over because, like I said, we're surrounded in sand plums, sumac, and cattails and swamp ground. Even though it doesn't hardly ever rain here, this is just where the river backs up. And nothing comes in, including even the deer hunters and things. Maybe a coyote will come by every now and then. Mostly just snakes and birds get this far in, though. It's pretty deep, pretty dense. And there's not even any signal, so nobody can call you. You can't call in and out. And I kind of enjoy that. I can't live stream from here, obviously. But, you know, we work pretty hard. We have a ranch that's growing every year. My brother-in-law owns it. I've been working it for 18 years now, almost 19. It's hard to believe. And in the wintertime, it's 9 hours a day, 6 days a week. My nephews do the feeding on Sundays, so I have a day off. And in the summertime, it's 10 to 12 hours every day. A lot of times 7 days a week if we're farming or harvesting. And in the morning I do study for the other YouTube channel, and usually in the evening or sometimes even in the morning we are making videos, because a lot of times we put out a video every day over there. Not always, but at least a short every day usually, and sometimes full scale videos every day. And really have no time for anything else when you do that, including studying. Studying gets very hard, especially in the summertime when we go all day, you know, at work. You go when the sun comes up, you get done when the sun goes down, you go home, you try to read a little bit. You know, guys who know me from the other channel know that I love history and I love to study history and make videos on history. But in the summertime, you'll notice that my history of the handguns, Colt, several other videos tend to taper off because I literally don't have enough time to hit the bucks. Come out to this spot to study, because studying is unique in its own way, especially when you're reading history books and not novels. It gets kind of difficult when you're surrounded by everything around you, even in your own house, in your own study or your office. I have my computer in there, I have guns in there, I have a million and one things on my mind. But I'm thinking about when I'm book studying, I might just start bringing them out here early in the morning as the sun comes up. I don't know. I'm trying to get in a little bit of study before I go right over to work, which work's not too far from here. You can hear over about half a mile away from me, there's cows bawling. I just fed them over there in the other pasture. This isn't a video that has any direction, by the way. This is just me rambling. Now, there's nothing better than the sound of the wind in the trees. I can just decompress. But I was talking about studying. Sometimes when you're out here, it might even be a distraction from studying because it's just where you're meant to be, you know. A lot of times I go squirrel hunting. I'd prefer to go squirrel hunting over deer hunting or about anything else, to be honest with you. Because I like to go, maybe take a dog or just go by myself and just sit. I could sit for an hour on a Sunday afternoon if I'm squirrel hunting. I don't get that much time anymore with the other channel. We're always filming, but I could just sit for an hour, hour and a half. And of course, when you walk in, everything's dead. Nothing's making any noise. Everything knows you're there. And right now, of course, with this hat on, of course, everything knows I'm here. But you come in sometimes with a darker colored hat, especially if you're squirrel hunting or something. I like to wear a floppy black hat. That's another subject. But, and darker colored clothes. And you come in and everything's dead silent. And it takes about 30 minutes to just sit. And the world starts to come to life around you. Things that you don't think about. You'll see honeybees and you'll see sparrows. One of my favorite things is to hear crows, especially in the fall time. I get a real sense of being home when I hear a crow calling in the fall. And maybe not a whole passel of them. Sometimes that can be annoying, but one or two, off in the distance, that's a very comforting sound. And you can just sit here and think. Obviously, everybody can't have a spot like this, and I'm very lucky. As I said, I know. And I may not always have it. I mean, things could change. But I'm very lucky to have it. But if you even got a park where you can go to and sit on a bench, or just somewhere where you can look at the sky, or even if you can't look at the sky, sit in a library. Somewhere where there's an ambient noise. Right now there's a calf bawling over there about a half mile away. But that noise of the wind in the trees is something special. When I was younger, I didn't know exactly how special it was until I went off to Bible college. Some people call it seminary, Bible college. I moved to Oklahoma City. And I suddenly realized there were no trees and no wind where I was. So I would go down every day to the National Cowboy Heritage Museum. I had a season pass. I would go into the native room. A lot of people know what that is. It's kind of dark in there. There's the sound of distant drums, and there is an air conditioning system in that room and a heating system. No matter what time of year, there's this ambient noise coming through the roof that sounds like the wind in a cottonwood tree. And the whole time I was in Oklahoma City, that was my retreat. Even though I couldn't get really anywhere where there was just me and wind in the trees, I could just go sit in that room every chance I got when things were winding down, once a week at least, and just decompress, listen to that wind blow, and sit there with the distant sound of those drums and surrounded by history, and just kind of decompress for just a little bit and get your mind back right. Nothing like it. I don't know if you guys will like this kind of video or not. Only you that are even. You got to be pretty extreme into 11 Bang Bang to even know this channel exists. Snapper and all those guys, they'll be talking to me on the phone, and when I'm talking to Duke Frazier Productions, or Snapper from Snapper's Antique Firearms, and I come by this area, I always lose signal, and I always have to tell them I lost signal. When I don't want to be disturbed, I come in this area, and it's a good place. It's talking about hats again. I wear a slouchy black hat when I'm hunting squirrels, so they can't see you really well from above. Had somebody ask me the other day if I wear the clothes that I wear on 11 Bang Bang all the time. Not generally. A lot of times I dress just like this with a ball cap. I don't know about where you guys come from, but where I come from, wearing an actual cowboy hat, and I'm not talking about just any cowboy hat, but there goes a squirrel. We're not in season. But wearing a hat or spurs, you do it when you're working, obviously, at least the spurs, but the hat and spurs have to be earned. What a lot of people don't understand. You don't just, there's guys that wear that hat and wear those spurs that, and I don't wear the spurs every day, grant you, but the guys that wear the hats every day, they command a certain amount of respect. And there have been times in my life when I've wore the hat every day, but at those times I was doing the job a lot harder and a lot, there were times when I'd ride horses about every day. And as I've gotten a little older, I don't do that so much. And grant you, I'm not old. I hate that when people my age start talking about how old they are. I'm 32, so I'm not that old, but I have 16, 17, 18-year-old nephews that are coming up behind me, and they like to do that horse work, and there's 6 of them, and so the horse work becomes a little less important on my end. Now I spend most of the day watching the cattle, running the feed trucks, going along fence. Mostly in the wintertime running the feed trucks, and in the summer running the tractors. I still can ride a horse, I do it, but it's not as prominent a fixture in my life as it used to be. It can't be. There's just not enough time, and there's more people to do that particular job and not do the more mechanical job, shall we say. There's a special thing that comes with that hat. A special privilege and understanding. Either you earned the hat and everybody knows you wear it for a reason, or everybody kind of looks at you funny and says, why are you wearing that every day? And the hat has its purposes, don't get me wrong. If you're out in the woods hunting every day, or in the woods every day, you need a hat to protect you from things that can see you above you. A good wide-brimmed hat, dark colored, and if you're working cattle in brushy areas, a hat can, especially an old beater floppy one, can really protect your head riding through brush. You need chaps, you need hat, vest to protect you. Good vest to protect your torso. Now, I'm not bashing anybody that wears a hat every day. If that's your personality, go for it. But it just hits a little different around here. Well, I guess that's my talk for today. Hope you guys enjoy this kind of video. Kind of impromptu. I don't know if I'll do it a bunch. May not do it anymore. But there it is. I don't have a name for this. I can sit out here and be absolutely quiet Or it seems almost therapeutic to just sit here and talk to the camera. Maybe I'll switch off doing one than the other. What do you think? See you later.